So James, our partner journey over the last 7 years has really been focused on, well, really implementing hybrid cloud solutions. And then that's kind of moved into full cloud solutions as well. But you know, with the advent of 365, moving from BPOS, and now Azure, and all the services that you can get on that, you know, the next stage is Azure Active Directory. And I can see a day where very, very soon the full cloud solution is Windows 10, Azure, the lack of a need for a domain controller, maybe a file server. But actually, could you just give us your kind of blueprint of the way forward for that network solution in an SMB, small to medium business?
Absolutely. I think we have a great heritage in Active Directory that's been around for a long time now. It's what underpins the identity structure for a lot of organizations. When we think about small and medium-sized businesses today, though, particularly those ones that are kind of new, born in the cloud, startups, yes, they're not encumbered with that legacy. They don't have all of that tin, they don't have all of that process to worry about. They want a simple and flexible solution that means they can get started quickly. And that's exactly what we can do with Azure Active Directory, and it's the things that we can achieve with Microsoft 365 Business. Because now a small business, for example, can speak to their reseller and buy a device and have it shipped out to them, and on their desk the next day perhaps, the end user turns on the device for the very first time, and instead of like the old days where you'd have to go through some protracted provisioning process and somebody might have to image the device and prepare it and all of those sorts of things, now they just sign in with their cloud credentials, everything is provisioned down to the device automatically, and within a few moments really they're ready to go with everything that they need. And that really is the power of the cloud, because it speeds up that whole process and means that people can actually start being more productive and effective much more quickly than they could before.
That's brilliant. I mean, I had in my head about 5 years ago that people would just literally boot up their, you know, laptop, Surface, whatever the device is, and it would boot into the browser, being the operating system. And in that, of course, you would just have your applications that now would be federated through Azure. And then maybe we could talk about the storage as well. So I believe there is still a need for that storage, maybe SharePoint, maybe a file server. Any thoughts around that at all?
It's a great question, and the best way I think about it is like moving house. And when you move house, you don't just take everything that you have, put it in the back of a truck, and then move to your new place. I mean, some people might, but usually you go through some kind of process of, you know, chuck this out, keep that, sell that, you know, and you sort of manage all of the stuff that you've built up, all those things that have been in the loft for ages, you go through them. And then you take to your new place only the things that you really want to keep. For me, moving to the cloud, you kind of need to go through the same process. You might have gigabytes or terabytes of data that you've built up over the last few months or years or even decades if you're that old an organization. If you try and take all of that in one go into a solution like SharePoint Online, then you're going to come unstuck, because you have to deal with all of that data and think about how you're going to use it and get access and migrate it. It's much better to use the right storage solution for the right task. So if you need to hold on to legacy data for archiving purposes, or perhaps you're legally obliged to hold on to those sorts of things, then there are storage solutions, whether that's file storage in Azure, whether it's SharePoint Online or OneDrive, that are best catered to that. But for your live data, the stuff that you're working on day in, day out as part of projects and as knowledge workers and individuals, then solutions like SharePoint and OneDrive are going to be much better suited to those kinds of tasks. So for me, it's, as I say, it's very much about going through that a mass of data that you have and then deciding, well, which is the right cloud storage solution. They all play together really, really well, so it's not about saying that we have to pick one over another at the expense of some kind of productivity, but there are different costs, there are different performance things to think about, and so just spending that time at the initial migration phase thinking about where things are going to go and actually what could we keep or what could we get rid of, it's going to make your cloud transition much more successful, much more quickly as you do move to the cloud.
I kind of tend to agree with you. I think no one solution that's it, it's perfect and you will only stick with that. I think with every organisation or business out there, because some of them might have masses of data, but it could be archived, you know, to a cheap, storage, blob storage in Azure. But the great thing about moving data to the cloud and moving your organisation there is that headache of thinking, oh, I've got to get this backed up. You know, isn't that fantastic the way we can make it geo-redundant, we can make sure it's backed up, you know, Azure backup, and, you know, even business continuity as well with the cloud. It covers all of that off, so, you know, I think it's different for every organisation, but, you know, great tips there, James. I think you're bang on.